Welcome to the Ringer NFL show. I'm Sheil Kapadia. Today we are talking awards races. I'm focused on the close ones: MVP, Coach of the Year, and Offensive Player of the Year. Where do we stand with those three with 5 weeks left? Guess who we're talking to about it? Our old friend Ben Solak, now with ESPN. He returns. We agree a little bit. We disagree a little bit. We keep it civil. We didn't go too crazy shouting at each other, but always fun talking football with Solak. Let's take a break. We'll come back and we talk awards races. This episode of the Ringer NFL show is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like expecting the leadership of a team captain on the football field, but getting a C captain? Sure, they're both captains, but who is going to run your offense? You wouldn't settle for just anything for your team, so don't settle for just any insurance. When it comes to getting the help you need, State Farm is the real deal. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. All right, we are back here with Ben Solak. Solak, before we get started on the awards, do you need a second to comment on Ben Johnson's lack of chest hair, or was that off the record, your text?
That was off the record when I texted you about the fact that some people just don't have chest hair, and we don't need to have full conversations about some people not having enough chest hair. It's just a thing that some people do and have, some people don't have. That's all.
And it doesn't make you any less of a man, I believe. Not to quote you.
There are many things that I claim doesn't make you less than a man. They accumulate over time, and it's a worrying volume.
All right, had to get started with that. Let's talk MVP first, Solak. So it's mostly a two-man race. If you look at the FanDuel odds, it doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. But we want to talk about these in kind of two lanes here. Number one, who is your guy right now, like the MVP through 13 weeks of the season? And again, the odds would say Drake May and Matthew Stafford are the favorites. So let's start there, and then we'll talk about, hey, maybe if this thing changes over the next 5 weeks, who we're looking at. So do you have May, Stafford, or someone else right now?
I have May over Stafford. I've had May over Stafford pretty much the whole time. There was a moment there where Stafford became a small favorite. I lean May because of the fundamental nature of most valuable player, right? That's kind of always the thing that I end up talking about in this time of year. There's some people who go about it with stats, and we know it's often a team that wins the number one seed and so on and so forth. To me, I just want to watch and experience you as a player and think to myself, man, if I replaced you with a league average player, no shot, right? If you took Drake May out of the Patriots offense with the rotating cast of good enough wide receiver twos that they have, with an offensive line that is, much improved from last year, but I would still say was a below average line even before the injuries, which we obviously saw this past week with the running back rotation. Josh McDaniels is doing a fine job as the OC, but this is no Clint Kubiak, Ben Johnson, let's hire him tomorrow, be a head coach sort of a guy. May is just, he's the straw that stirs the drink. He's the keystone of the arch. He's the reason the Patriots are as successful in offense as they are. Stafford, an unbelievable season, without question. And to do it at his age with the back injury is a testament to his toughness and to his talent. But I know that I could get a league average quarterback into the Rams offense, and Puka Nacua could carry games, Devontae Adams could carry games, that line carry games, and McVay could carry games in a way that wouldn't happen in New England.
This is boring. We're on the same page. We like to argue with each other. But yeah, for this one, we're on the same page with Drake May. Yeah, I'm with you just because I think the situation is worse than Matthew Stafford's situation. Like you mentioned, he's in a good situation. He's playing awesome. He's played awesome. But he does have Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Sean McVay. Drake May does not have any of those things. And statistically, he's better. I don't need to go through all the nerd stats, but he is better statistically in all those areas. He's better in the traditional stats as well. So yeah, I've got May over Stafford right now. And I was actually thinking, Solak, how many quarterbacks would the Patriots trade Drake May for right now, this second?
Two, it's the Mahomes, Allen, Lamar triumvirate, right? That you put.
Are we sure it's all three of those?
No, but I'm saying it's
okay,
that group,
most, yeah,
right? And then you introduce May and you say, okay, rookie contract, can he be one of those guys? And it's yeah, he absolutely can. Right? Mina said this on ESPN this week, which is very accurate. He's already in that rarefied air of guys. You just can't do X against him, right? Okay, you can't blitz him. You also can't drop into zone against him. Okay, but you can't mush rush him and get outside of the pocket. Okay, you can't man and press, right? He's going to kill you down. There's just no one thing that's an answer to the guy. So no, I think it would be a conversation for every single quarterback in the league. Now that top echelon of guys is all off the rookie contracts. Yeah, May is without question the most valuable player in football from like the contract perspective, like what is he being paid relative to the what he's giving you on the field, without question, number one in that like cap oriented look at most valuable player.
I think Mahomes and Allen, you would, just, this is all obviously not, this is not real life, but I think Mahomes and Allen you would do, just because you're saying, all right, it is a small sample. We know we're getting a top 5 offense with those two guys making that deal. I think everybody else is a conversation. Like I mean, if I were the Patriots, and like you said, with the salaries and maybe some of the injury stuff with Lamar in the past, and the fact that he's going to be 29 years old versus the age Drake May is. I mean, Joe Burrow, all these guys, I would be like, no, I think I'm just going to stick with Drake May on the rookie contract and take my chances.
A word on Stafford and on May as well. It is, I think, the case this year that both May and Stafford's campaigns for MVP are not as strong as the typical campaigns, right? Like they aren't as strong as like Lamar's MVP seasons have recently been, Allen's last year, Mahomes' right? We've been used to a certain caliber of quarterback season being MVP. I think Stafford and May have both are cut below that, but it's the hand we've been dealt. Like these are the guys that we've got to talk about. So I see some people being like, May could never be MVP. Look at how his performance compares to Josh Allen's last year. That was last year. It didn't happen this year. Allen, Mahomes, and Lamar, not one of the three is having like a thermonuclear change the game season. So these are the guys we've got. You can't not give a guy an MVP because it happens to be a down year on the award, whether it is Stafford or May.
And still, I mean, 70% completions. He's going to average almost 9 yards per attempt. He's first in total EPA. He's second in EPA per pass play. So it's not a weak resume, but I am with you. The others, it felt like, oh my gosh, we're seeing something like crazy right now. We've just been on a run like that. So let's say we revisit this conversation in 5 weeks. Is there a guy that you would look at and say, this guy could sneak his way into that conversation depending on how the rest of the season goes?
Yeah, I bet Dak to win MVP before the Chiefs game, and I think that Prescott winning the MVP is a serious thing to consider. The Cowboys are plus 240 to make the playoffs. Dak is right now 14-1 to win MVP. There are very few worlds in which the Cowboys actually make a run and get to the postseason in which I think Prescott doesn't win the MVP award, right? If you look at like
really, but it's always like the 1 or the 2 seed. So you're saying this would really be an exception type of year because they're not going to be the 1 or the 2 seed.
That's why I brought up the weak class, right?
Okay.
Because I do think take the Patriots just finished a 10-game winning streak. They are 11-2. They are the unquestioned top seed in the AFC. And May right now is like minus 120 to win the MVP, right? If his name were Josh Allen, minus 500. Right? Like the market does not want to run to Drake May as MVP. It's leaving the door open. And if we use the market as an adequate reflection of where voters' minds will be, which I think is fair in cases like these awards, they're leaving the back door open for like voters are for Dak Prescott to finish the season on a 6-0 run. We know that like the Cowboys defense is certainly improving, but it's very unlikely the Cowboys win the bulk of these games on the back of like defense and ball control. No, it's going to come with gaudy stats for Dak Prescott. It's going to come with touchdown passes. They're one of the highest pass rate over expectation teams when they get inside the 30-yard line. So he's going to accumulate the stats. Like to me, like Dak is a very clear third dark horse where it's not that I think he's going to actually get it done. I think the Patriots are going to end up like, 15-2. So I think May's going to have a great finish to the season. But in the worlds in which the Cowboys make the playoffs, again, plus 240, that plus 1,400 odds is very, very short. You should be betting on that.
All right. There is a narrative. There will be a statistical case. I think he absolutely, if we're just saying individual performance this year, I think he belongs in the conversation. It just usually that would be against the norm with just the total number of wins they're going to have. The only other names I'll throw in there, if the Bills were to win out, Solak, they're plus 500 to win the AFC East. They have a 24% chance to win the 1 seed per the Athletics playoff simulator. I think there could be a case for Josh Allen. Now, it's a tricky one because I don't think this has been his best year. But if they go on a tear and he looks, you're like, whoa, this is the best version of Josh Allen over the next 5 weeks. He's going to have all the counting stats. He's going to have all the nerd stats. He's going to have the whole like, hey, if we look back in 10 years and are like, are we going to like regret not having Josh Allen as the MVP? I think there's that type of case. I'm with you. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Patriots are going to hold on there. But he was one other name I wrote down at least.
It's really hard to repeat, right? And we saw that literally with, I think, Lamar and Josh Allen last year, where it's like, okay, do we give the guy a second MVP for having a second really, really good season? Or do we give it to the new guy for having this newly great season, right? Like, it's very hard to compare Allen to May, because if Allen's in the conversation, they almost certainly beat the Patriots. I want to say it's week 17 when they play again, might be 16. And so like that I think is a little bit of a hard comparison, but like, let's say it's Allen and Stafford because they do beat the Patriots. I think the voters are going to want to give it to Stafford as the guy to recognize the career achievement. Let's give him his first MVP, much the way they did to Allen over Lamar last season. Like this guy deserves to have at least one up there on his shelf. And so it's hard for me to get there on Josh just because he's a repeat guy. But yeah, like it's that one, and then like talking about unseating your divisional rivals to win the conference. Like Jordan Love deserves probably a mention.
I agree. He's the last one. Yeah.
That thing with both the Bills and the Packers that also gives me pause is both of them just like run the football a little too much, right? Like there's some worlds, like I said, where with the Cowboys, Prescott's putting up numbers because of the way that they play. There's worlds like the Bills win their last 4 games, running the football 62% of the time the way they did against the Steelers. I think the Packers are in a similar boat where they're obviously passing a little bit more, but still like they're just so run heavy. There's going to be games where those guys don't accumulate the stats they need.
Yeah, I agree with that. They would have to he would have to accumulate those numbers. They would have to win the division, maybe be the 1 or 2 seed. I don't think it's going to happen, but I do think Love deserves a mention.
You really don't like Bo Nix at 100-1? It's right there.
No, I don't have that. Speaking of which, let's move on to Coach of the Year. Solak, maybe you give the Broncos a little bit of love in this spot. I don't know. Who is your Coach of the Year through 13 weeks? I actually have 6 names written down as my finalists. So you want them now, or you want to give me your pick, and then I'll tell you.
If you gave me a ballot, the top pick for me would be Mike McDonald, who's the coach of the Seahawks. Right now, I would still be willing to give it to him over Ben Johnson, who's the coach of the Bears. I'm not there on Vrabel as coach of the year. I understand why it feels that way. The Patriots were a mess last year, situationally, execution-wise. Vrabel walks in. They're now no longer a mess. They have unbelievable execution. That Giants game, man, what a testament to coaching. I was positive that was a trap game for the Patriots. Sleepy 2-win Giant team. Like they have a week 14 bye, then playing for 13 games straight. This is like a classic come out a little bit dead in a primetime game. All of a sudden we're down 13-3. We have to like inch our way back into the stupid Giants game. They came out there just hitting people. They loved playing football that night, right? That is all Vrabel. So he deserves flowers for that. He absolutely does. But I think the ineptitude of the 2024 Patriots has been greatly exaggerated to create the myth of the 2025 Vrabel effect. Like without question, they were losing ball games. Coaching was a big part of that. Bad end of game, end of half decisions, so on and so forth. But like May looked great last year for like the last 13 weeks of the season, right? We can't like pretend that didn't happen. I struggle with how much credit Vrabel's getting for May. I think that a lot of that is backwards. And so to me, it's McDonald and Ben Johnson in the conversation. I lean McDonald. He's a second-year coach versus a first-year coach. This often goes to first-year coaches. But what McDonald did in terms of the offense coordinator change, right? Moving on from Grubb quickly, admitting the mistake, getting a guy named Clint Kubiak who matches very nicely with Sam Darnold. Managing new offensive coordinator into new quarterback is a thing that is like very, very difficult to do and be very successful that fast. They did that. Think about the personnel moves that were clearly McDonald influenced, right? The addition of DeMarcus Lawrence on the defensive line has just simply been one of the best defensive linemen in football, a preposterous amount. The Nick Amarnware trade up and the role that he's played in that defense now that he's gotten healthy, like there was such a clear vision on that side of the ball that he's executed. And then they are stone cold nails perfect in terms of like game management, 4th down management, red zone management, right? McDonald does a wonderful job in game. And if you listen to the way he like talks, like he's had these press conferences and whatever about how they think about things week over week. And like, he was getting all the questions, matching personnel, like 13 personnel, like McDonald is as sharp as they come in terms of like week to week game planning, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday work, preparing his guys. You see that out there in the play. I think that McDonald deserves the biggest slice of the pie credit for Seattle's like, really, really quite surprising success.
I think the game management stuff he understands really well. There are times where you can just tell he's like, I'm not letting Sam Darnold lose this game for me. I love my defense, which maybe you don't hold that against him. I'm saying that
to his credit.
Like, maybe he knows his team. All right, you could. I mean, now if it gets to a better team and some bigger, like I do think we could be having a conversation in a big spot in December or January where we're going, all right, I know he loves his defense, but man, that was very conservative right there, but maybe not. Maybe we'll say, all right, this is kind of a different way to look at it. He knows his team. So I get that one. I wrote down Ben Johnson initially, but then I thought, I feel like I'm having some recency bias here. And if we're going through 13 weeks, the entire body of work, I think I still go Shane Steichen.
Yeah, and he was the clear coach of the year in September, right?
Yeah, October too, probably. Yeah, I would say, because if we're zooming out and like if I would have said at the beginning of the season, hey, these two scenarios, one, the Bears are going to be atop the AFC North and Ben Johnson's going to have coached a top 10 offense, or Shane Steichen with Daniel Jones will have a top 3 offense by every metric in the NFL, we all would have said the Ben Johnson thing is way more likely. Like, I can't just say, I know they've struggled lately, and I think I'll change my mind probably in 5 weeks with the way this Colts thing is going and could potentially go. But if I'm saying right now at this moment in time, and I had to vote, I think I would still give it to Steichen.
Right. I tweeted this after the Bears beat the Eagles, but I was like, listen, I was positive to start the year that Shane Steichen was the coach of the year until I became positive that Mike McDonald was the coach of the year. And I'm now currently becoming positive that Ben Johnson is the coach of the year, right? For as much as MVP candidates are below average, the coach of the year candidates this year are like, it is a very, very tight race, right? Vrabel is like the market leader right now. You and I haven't really talked about him. Like, every 49ers fan in the world is trying to convince me Kyle Shanahan's coach of the year. And I'm like, guys, I get it. I'm with you.
He's on my list.
He deserves to have won one by now. The coaching job he's done this year is incredible. It's just this award doesn't tend to go to like 9-year head coaches or whatever he is at this point. So it's brutally close. Steichen, and it's hard because I don't know the extent to which Daniel Jones is hurt and how some of that is going. Steichen, he had this issue with Richardson, and now he's having this issue with Jones. When the helicopter starts spinning, he is not good at pulling that ship back to right. Like, that is my one thing with Shane that drives me nuts. This Texans game is another example. They walked out, they were down 1 touchdown in the third quarter, and they walked out, drop back. Buddy, like, it's not that urgent yet. Like, you can get back to running the football. You can stay in your base, right? They would go for like these crazy 4th downs, right? They have the drive against the Chargers. They went for like 3 4th downs on one drive. They got to that Chiefs game and they turtled real quick. Like, when things start to go a little bit wrong, Steichen, in my experience, can like the pendulum could swing really far the other direction. He can vacillate and like the tailspin gets worse. That's my hesitation with Shane. If he can pull the helicopter out of the tailspin here and like land the plane on, okay, we still win the AFC North. We were kind of hoping for the 1 seed, whatever. We're going to be the 2 seed. I'm 100% there. It's just, I know Steichen is not good at stopping the spiral.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I don't think I'm going to have him after week 18. That's why I'm doing the 2 exercises after week 13 and then projecting. I think the only other guys we didn't, other guys on my list. I did have Peyton on there. I think if you dethrone the Chiefs and have a chance to be the 1 seed in the AFC and your quarterback is not like an elite guy, then you absolutely deserve a mention, even if it's the defense doing a lot of the lifting. And I think McVay deserves a mention as well. Like, it's sort of the Shanahan thing. You know, I had Shanahan on my list as well, where just because these guys have gotten credit maybe in the past as great coaches doesn't mean they shouldn't be mentioned as the best coaching jobs this year.
I'll tell you somebody who's not going to win it and is not going to get any votes at all.
Ooh, I'm excited.
But if I were putting a ballot out with like 5 names, ranked choice, wherever it is they do it, I would like want to make sure he was 5th on my ballot to make a point. And that's Dave Canales, the coach of the Panthers. The Packers and the Rams upsets are both remarkable examples of excellent in-game coaching. The way that they managed those scripts, the way they shortened the clock and shortened the fields and kept it within 1 score and let the high leverage plays work for themselves. I also know he's not going to get it because like people are going to be like, oh, the narrative, like, is Bryce Young getting better? Is Bryce Young improving? Is he ready? I see a guy who is like top shelf at coaching around his quarterback.
He's maximizing his talent. I agree with that.
There are games like the games against the 49ers where it just like, it feels like they're all wrong and like, you know, why weren't you running the football more and whatever? Because they walk out with some of these really polarized game plans. To me, it's because he's working around what he's got there at the quarterback position. Canales, in terms of like the peak moments, which I've been most impressed with coaching this year, Canales has like 2 or 3 of them, right? Especially, like I said, those upsets. So to me, like, he's not going to win it. They're not going to win enough games. And like, you know, the narratives with the Panthers are going to be about something else. But he has really impressed me this season.
I like that. It's hard to be like, oh, another coach would have that Panthers team with a better record right now. I mean, that's just another way.
They are as sharp as they come there, man. I really believe that.
Some mention. All right, let's take a break. We come back. We will finish with Offensive Player of the Year. All right, we are back here on the Ringer NFL show. Offensive Player of the Year right now, Jackson Smith-Njigba is the favorite. Jonathan Taylor also has minus odds according to FanDuel. There are other guys you could potentially make a case for. Solak, who do you got?
This is a really, really challenging. Like, if you made me vote today, I don't know if I would take Taylor or JSN. It's really quite hard. You kind of want to see them get to the end of the year and be like, all right, which one of you gets 20 touchdowns? Which one of you gets 2,000 receiving yards? Right? Who hits the big milestone? And then we'll go and give it to them. Between the two right now, I think I lean JSN. It's very, very slight. Colts fans, I can't stress enough like how impressed I am with what Taylor's done this season. Smith-Njigba, it feels a little bit more like against all odds to me, right? I've seen Taylor have seasons like this before, have stretches like this before. Obviously, this is his best one. I feel like Taylor's doing a huge part carrying that Colts offense. But JSN was more like, oh my God, this is out of nowhere, right? And this Vikings game was really the first moment where it ever felt like there was a little bit of wind outside of the sails, right? He's still averaging like whatever it is, 4.28 yards per route run. Like it's a number that is not only preposterous, it's like beyond what we thought really like a player could do, right? And so I lean JSN between him and Taylor. I do think Christian McCaffrey, who's on pace to have the second 1,000 yard season, is a much closer 3 than people are giving him credit for. But right now in this moment, I think it's still 2-horse race, Taylor and JSN.
I got JSN as well. Yeah, I mean, the yards per route run number is the second since 2000 of like over 800 wide receivers. I mean,
it's disgusting.
That's what the defense focused on, stopping him. No great run game, no complimentary second wide receiver. So I've got JSN. I have another guy who I would put ahead of McCaffrey. I would have another guy third over McCaffrey. Now, this is based on, so like one of these years, I want to do this exercise. No social media, no access to any statistical database. All I can do is watch the games, watch the film if I want, and check the injury reports. And I think if that's all I did this year,
Jahmyr Gibbs,
I would have Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, when I watch Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm going, he's better than every other player on the field. He's the best player in football. I know in a league where everybody is a world-class athlete, he's making people look stupid. So if I had just the eye test where it's like, who's a guy I'm going to remember from this season who's just been incredible, and I think he's won them games, he's created explosive plays, I would have Jahmyr Gibbs on my ballot.
Hard to argue with, really is. And I think that he is hurt by the fact that Detroit tends to share their wealth a little bit more just in terms of general net touches than certainly Seattle does with JSN, and then also Indianapolis does there with Jonathan Taylor. If Gibbs had been getting the usage from week 1 that he's gotten since like week 6 or 7 on, then probably, right, I think the numbers, I don't have the exact stretch in front of me, but I would guess the numbers are a little bit more comparable to Taylor. He also doesn't score touchdowns in the same way that Taylor does because he's just not that style of back. He's not as big.
This isn't fantasy.
Right.
Come on.
No, I'm saying that's why you're not hearing about this, right? In the same way. Talent-wise, pound for pound. Yeah. I mean, like, who the most talented back is in football. I was trying to do this the other day where I was like, all right, Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, who like Robinson is and again, like he doesn't have the stats because like the offense they run there kind of frustrates me like crazy and whatever. But just in terms of like talent pound for pound, I'm not sure that Jahmyr Gibbs is the most talented running back in football, but this always ends up being a statistical award, and it kind of should be in terms of the impact you have in their offense. Like that's why the McCaffrey thing to me, like people are like, how could a back who's averaging 3.6 yards per carry?
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm that person.
Yeah. It's not an efficiency stat. Offensive Player of the Year is not an efficiency award. It is who is outsizing their impact on the offense, right? Who is carrying the weight on their back, right? Who is owning the biggest piece of the pie? Like,
but the run game hasn't been good. He hasn't been good.
Good thing he's producing 1,000 receiving yards.
Okay, but he's not a receiver. He's not Jackson Smith-Njigba as a receiver.
The fact that he can be the guy who's responsible for chunking out 4 yards on the ground to keep the defense certain looks, to be establishing on 1st and 10, to keep the turnovers down, so on and so forth. And then when you are down in those games, which an offense can keep pace with you, he can go and catch the ball 9 times for 85 yards, is singular. It is one of one. Jahmyr Gibbs does that occasionally. Christian McCaffrey does that weekly. And so, like, to me, like, there is a degree to which raw fantasy production is reflective of like Offensive Player of the Year, because you should just have a large bulk of responsibility on you. The production should be siloed on you. It shouldn't be about like overall efficiency. We're not giving this award to Rico Dowdle, right, for his 5.3 yards per carry.
No, you have to have a certain threshold of the counting stats, but then we look beyond that. And I feel like Jahmyr Gibbs has the threshold. He's 4th in rushing yards in the NFL. He leads all backs in 20-plus yard plays. I mean, I just feel like what he's done is more impressive, where McCaffrey, I mean, he is right now 43rd out of 48 backs in rushing EPA. He's 48th out of 48 in rush yards over expected. I'm not saying it's not impressive. Right. It is impressive that he's able to take all.
Exactly.
And Kyle Shanahan, why are we giving him carries in like the 4th quarter of a blowout? The guy is good. Have you not seen history here? But I absolutely agree that they've just been like, oh, you're also going to have to like carry our load in the passing game, and we have like a top 10 efficient offense. I agree that that's impressive, but I can't give him like total credit for doing both things when the one thing actually hasn't been that great.
It's just the Michael Thomas argument, right? 2019, whatever year it was, Michael Thomas had like 186 catches, right? For like 7.6 yards a pop. And they gave it to him over Lamar Jackson. I remember this so distinctly because it's just sick to be that important to your team, right? It's cool to be that integral, right? So like whenever it's tricky because like I always come at these markets from a betting perspective. So I'm always thinking about like, all right, what are the, plus EV bets here? And so in that world, right, where you're siloed off, it's just you and the film. Sounds like a great world, by the way. I would love to be in a little film bunker.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
I think you're going to see things like, all right, Jameer Gibbs over Christian McCaffrey. And that's very legitimate, right? Like right now, like Offensive Rookie of the Year awards, Tedero McMillan is finally leading the markets, as he should be, because his film has been better than everybody for the entire freaking time. But it's typically not how these markets go. They go other directions. And so that's why when I look at it, I think to myself, like, oh, if Christian McCaffrey has 1,100 rushing yards and 1,100 receiving yards, which is not impossible, people are going to want to acknowledge that as an absurdly successful and productive season, even though, like, yes, he did touch the ball a lot and the efficiency is not that great.
All right. I like that. We agreed too much early. We rounded back into form with the McCaffrey Gibbs conversation there.
Brother,
at the end.
That reminds me. How did you feel about the Jameer Gibbs pick at the time? Were you like pro or were you like, this is terrible?
I probably ripped it. Yeah,
I have a tweet from draft night where I was like, man, this is not a good tweet.
Yeah.
And it's not a good pick. Lions fans are still, every single week, every week, Lions fans are like, oh, look at this idiot. Meanwhile, I'm so done. I'm so like, man, this guy's incredible. I love him so much. He's unbelievable. It's crazy to me. We are 3.5 seasons. No, 22, 23, so far. We are 3.5 seasons removed from the Jameer Gibbs moment. And Lions fans are still trying to dunk on people for thinking it was a bad pick. We've all moved on. He's amazing. It's so funny to me.
Never post is, of course, the lesson there, but that's not going to happen. All right. His name is Ben Solak. You can check out all of his work at ESPN. Check him out on with Mina Kimes every other week as well. Solak, great to see you, my friend.
Bye, Sheil.
All right. I'll be right back with the Hurry Up. The Hurry Up is presented by State Farm. Don't settle for just any insurance when there's State Farm. And we have a huge Thursday night game between the Lions and the Cowboys. I just feel like this is a massive moment in the Dan Campbell era. They had the rise in 2022. They were one of the best teams in the NFL, 27-7 over a 2-year span in 2023 and 2024. But they didn't get over the hump. They couldn't get to the Super Bowl. And now what? Right? They're 7-5. And I don't know that people realize like the degree to which the Lions are on the ropes here in danger of missing the playoffs is pretty significant. According to the Athletics playoff simulator, they have just a 30% chance to make the playoffs. And if they lose this game, that goes down all the way to 12%. So they wouldn't be out of it. If they win out, they still would have a good chance. But man, there is a lot riding on this football game. So I don't think Detroit's window is closed either way. Even if they miss the playoffs this year, I'm not going to say they missed their window and it's over. They still have a lot of good young players. I still like Dan Campbell. But if this is a step back year, it is going to be hard not to think, well, maybe those Ben Johnson years, 2023 and 2024, maybe those were their best shots at getting to the Super Bowl and meeting that level, that high level of an elite football team in the NFL. Again, it's not closed, but those thoughts are going to start to creep into everyone's head. So I just think this is a very interesting moment for Dan Campbell, especially after his move to take over the play calling duties a few weeks ago. Are the Lions an NFC contender? Or are they not even a playoff team? So really looking forward to this game. Obviously, you have all the implications with the Cowboys and the playoffs as well. All right, the Hurry Up was presented by State Farm. You wouldn't settle for just anything for your team on the football field. Shouldn't it be the same for your insurance? So don't settle for just any insurance when there's State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Appreciate everyone listening. Thank you to Ben Solak. Thank you to Christopher Sutton for producing. Kiera Givens on social and additional production supervision by Conor Nevins and Arjuna Ramgopowell. I'm Sheil Kapadia. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Ringer NFL Show. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino. Or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.